said, we move on to our next brand partner, who was established in April 2008 with the primary purpose of developing and managing the hotel and convention properties of SM Prime, one of the largest integrated property developers in Southeast Asia. SM Hotels and Conventions Corporation's portfolio comprises of 10 hotel properties with a combined inventory of more than 2,600 rooms and over 41,000 square meters of leasable convention space. So to give us more details about saving the earth one stay at a time, we are honored to have their seasoned sustainability leader with over 3 decades of cross-industry experience. She has led sustainability audits, launched green employee programs, and spearheaded Blue Loop, SMHCC's circular economy initiatives like Telltales and Plate for the Planet to reduce waste and regenerate resources across its hotels and convention centers. Now, let's all welcome on stage for a fireside chat conversation, SMHCC Vice President for Quality and Sustainability, Ms. Leah Magallanes.
Hello, Bulldogs. Good afternoon. Hi, Sam.
Hello. Thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you for that generous introduction.
Well deserved. Okay. All right. So I think we want to have a little, before we start, no? Maybe we can warm things up a little. Let's fireside conversation naman. So painitin natin ng konti yung
Correct.
kwarto, no?
Let's see if you're awake. Or
Okay.
we want to wake you up.
Let's wake everyone up. All right. So I think we have 3 questions that we're going to ask. And are we giving away any prizes? Baka gusto natin, no?
Well, this is a raise of hands, I think.
Okay.
Maybe later.
Later yung prizes natin. Okay,
Those who will
sige.
ask questions will get
Okay. Ayun, so mamaya.
Surprise
Okay,
prizes.
so mamaya sa Q&A session natin, okay? Those who ask any questions, may prize daw. All right. Okay, so perfect. So let's go ahead and kick things off. So we have some questions that we'd like to ask our audience at the moment, right? So I believe our first question was, all right.
Do you want to ask?
Yeah, or you want to
Sweet,
take turns? Ayun, para sweet naman tayo, no? Ka-close
Okay.
naman.
I'm sure most of you here have stayed in a hotel, right? Show of hands, who have stayed in a resort or a hotel? Okay. Huwag na kayo mag-shy. May prize nga mamaya di ba? Okay. Who here, when you go to a hotel, you want your aircon to be cold, super cold when you enter the room, that you leave the aircon on? Raise your hands.
Nako, ako guilty.
Ako guilty. Oo, guilty. Marami dyan, di ba? Gusto mo malamig. Okay. Sino dito ang pag-breakfast buffet? Yan, favorite ng lahat. Di ba?
Oo.
Yung bacon na kukunin isang dungdung na ganun.
Isang mountain.
Isang mountain of
Oo.
bacon or talagang susulitin mo yung buffet.
Correct.
Sino dito?
Kasing laki ng Mount Pinatubo, ako yon.
Raise your hands. Ako rin, ganun.
Oo,
Raise your hands.
medyo halata
Siyempre,
nga
masarap kumain ng breakfast, di ba?
Correct.
Okay. Sino dito yung mahilig na kung may bathtub yung hotel, magba-bubble bath ka.
Nako,
Pupunuin
ako rin
mo
yun.
yung bathtub. Ang sarap di ba?
Yes na yes daw dito.
Yes na yes. Okay.
Ganun, okay.
So, thank you for your honesty. Okay.
Ayun. All right.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. As paying guests, no, you have all the right to do that. If you want to turn on your aircon, you want it cold, you come from the beach or outside, you come inside your room, you want it cold, you want to eat to your heart's content, that is your privilege as a paying guest in our hotels, right? But our responsibility is how to manage and make the impact of all of those things less to the environment. And there are ways to lessen the impact of all of those things while you enjoy your stay in our hotels.
Wonderful. So I think let's go ahead and get right into it. So earlier I mentioned already saving the earth one stay at a time. It's actually even here on screen. So Ms. Leah, maybe you can explain to us what exactly that means and what does that mean in particular for SMHCC?
Okay, so saving the earth one stay at a time. There are actually 2 meanings to this. The literal meaning of this, first is for us, the operator of all of this hotel, is to really think of ways to lessen the impact on the environment. So that's the literal translation of this. So every time that you stay with us, we will find a way for you to enjoy, but also lessen the impact on the environment. That's the literal translation of this. But also it's very symbolic because, sustainability is not only for the operator. It's not only for, us who have the title of, VP for Sustainability. The responsibility is for everyone. And so the symbolic meaning of saving the earth one day at a time is that when you come and stay with us, you just don't know it, but you also participate in saving the earth. Okay?
Wow. Ang galing nun.
Ang galing, di ba?
Yeah.
So later on,
unwilling pala, I didn't even know, but I'm saving the earth.
Yes,
okay.
And later on, we will show you how you do it, in your own way. So we will show you in a big way how we do it and also in little steps. Okay?
All right. So maybe we can get started with that. So in terms of, for SMHCC particularly, what are the big sustainability goals that you have? Kumbaga, ano yung North Star nyo that you really strive for and aim to follow?
Okay, so for those who, you read the news about sustainability, all the big companies kasi will have a environmental goal. So for those who are not familiar, usually there are 3 pillars in sustainability: ESG, environment, social, and governance, okay? So for environment, that's the big topic all the time, environment. And all the big companies will say, oh, we want to reach net zero by a certain year, okay? So if you were to ask us what's our goal, basically that's our goal. We want to be able to minimize really the impact on the environment. And what guides us, how do we know we're doing the right thing? We have the UN SDG goals to follow. Because this one, when you follow this, what happens is that whatever we do, we make sure kasi that all the activities are not what you call greenwashing. I'm sure you've heard that term before. Actually, there's a new term now, but there's greenwashing and there's green wishing.
Okay, I don't know those. So baka,
yeah,
sorry,
okay.
can you
So
explain
greenwashing, okay, let's start with green wishing. Green wishing, well, it's similar, no? The two are similar. But green wishing, hindi pa nangyayari, na-announce na. Wish ko lang, di ba yung ganon? Wish lang, ganon. Sana ganyan. Okay, so there's green wishing. And greenwashing is that they'll say, oh, we did so-and-so activity, so we are sustainable. But if you look at the details of the activity, yan pala kulang. They should have done an extra step. And so the UN SDG indexes are the ones that help us avoid greenwashing and green wishing and all that.
Okay, so these indexes really are kind of like KPIs or KRAs,
Yes.
for layman's
Correct.
terms, yeah, that we can follow to meet those standards.
Correct. Parang it's your curriculum. Parang
Yes,
ganon,
okay.
na? And we're graded against it. Okay?
All right. So, okay, so these are the
Yeah.
7 green goals.
So based on the UN SDG goals, we broke it down to like 7 practical goals that all the hotels and convention center tries to achieve. So these are on consumption, responsible consumption, meaning, like let's say refusal of plastic, diversion, what do we do with our waste, energy, efficiency of use of energy, carbon footprint, there's sustainable tourism, of course, water preservation, and diversity and equal opportunity. So all of these 7 goals are based on the UN SDG goals.
And these are the goals that are actively being followed.
Yes,
at,
actively. So all of that may activities kami.
Oh, okay.
And may grade. There's a grade. Yeah.
Okay. Just quickly, what kind of activities? So maybe examples lang of what kind of activities
Yeah,
that
maybe
we
we
do.
can, we have some slides to show you what kind of activities we have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sige. So maybe I'll revert back before we go here.
Yeah.
Maybe you could also touch on project inclusion. Right, so project inclusion and how we embed social inclusion into sustainability and sustainability practices.
Yes, okay. So we believe kasi no one gets left behind, right? Project inclusion. And so later on in the slides also, we will show you some of the projects that we have, no? I just want to go back to, here we are. Okay, for example, this is Michael. Okay, Michael is our housekeeping in SMX. And Alex, yeah. Then, of course, also in, what do you call this? We believe in women empowerment, okay? And so we give equal opportunity to women, especially for male-dominated positions, okay? So for example, Anna here is our head of security in SMX Manila. This is Miss Shai, who is our AVP for projects. She's the one who plans all our hotels. She builds, she's in charge of all the construction. And this is Chef Billy. Chef Billy is the executive chef in Park Inn in Bacolod.
Wow, okay.
So that's, we have a program, like we don't discriminate, Oh, this is Mang Roger, okay. Part of that also is that we don't practice ageism. If you're capable, you can work. As a matter of fact, we have executives who are in their 70s and they're still working. Okay, as long as you're strong, So really, if you want a career, go to SM because, if you don't want to retire, you may stay on.
So walang forced retirement age?
There's
okay.
but if you're willing to work, you can. So like,
okay.
Mang Roger here, he is 65 years old. And he's my F&B attendant in Park in Iloilo.
Wow.
Yeah, Mang Roger.
And so he goes around, yan yung day-to-day niya. He really goes around,
he,
serves the customers.
Yes,
wow,
yes,
ang galing.
yes.
Okay.
And then we also have here, this is Ate Marisa. Ate Marisa here, we hired her for housekeeping. She used to be a person of, what do you call this? I have to be deprived of liberty.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
At the Quezon City Jail. Right? And now she's our housekeeping attendant.
Galing.
Yeah.
And sorry, I just noticed here. So this was also under a project of Mayor Joy Belmonte
Yes.
from QC, right?
So
okay.
we collaborated because, the private sector collaborates a lot with, with the LGU. It's very necessary for projects to happen. So, like for example, this one, Mayor Joy Belmonte has this project, in the Quezon City Jail.
Yeah.
We Park in North EDSA donated a hotel room, parang like a hotel room, and that's where they trained them to do housekeeping
Right.
stuff.
So this is really parang part of a livelihood program.
Yes, so that when they leave, they have a skill.
Right, that they can
Yes.
practice to make and earn a
Correct.
living. Oh,
Yes.
that's so wonderful. Ang galing. All right. So I'm loving this, and I think another initiative also that I mentioned earlier on was Plate for the Planet. So parang how does Plate for the Planet now reduce? I think that's more related towards food waste
Yes.
and then closing the loop there. What is that? Maybe you can explain that for
Okay,
us.
I guess before that, okay, what we have to first understand what you mentioned about closing the loop.
Yeah.
Okay? Have you heard of the term? Kasi you're closing the loop in sustainability. Bulldogs, have you heard of that? Not yet. Maybe we can show that illustration, Alex, I think, so that they'll better understand what closing. Okay, if there's any time to bring out your camera, this is it. Because this is very important. This is like a classroom. This is something to learn. Okay, when you say kasi you close the loop, a company will try to hold on to the resources as long as it can, right? So that's why it's from the time that you buy whatever resources, to the time that operations uses it, okay? The whole idea is that we will try to avoid throwing away whatever solid materials to the landfill. Okay, we don't want to throw it. So as much as possible, we will upcycle, recycle, donate. Okay, and so when you close the loop, in the process of closing the loop, you're also not only helping the environment, but you're also helping the people or the stakeholders as you go along.
Okay.
So if you can look at this is you if you stay at SM Hotel, diba? So we have responsible diversion. We know how to throw our trash properly. We segregate. Then the trash is given new life, right? So Telltales, we're talking about Telltales and Plate for the Planet. So the photos that you see here are the communities that we trained to upcycle our condemned linen. Because condemned linen in the hotel, alam niyo sa hotel kasi, every 2 to 3 years, pinapalitan yung mga bedsheet tsaka tuwalya. So just imagine kung gaano kadami yon at the end of 3 years, times 10 hotels. Di ba? Ang dami-dami na yon. So, responsibility namin, paano i-dispose yon? So yung iba dinodonate, kesa naman gawing trapo, okay, we give it to communities who we teach new skills, embroidery, etc. And then they earn, and they also earn, and I also, it achieves my objective of diverting the linen from the landfill. Okay? Then, of course, we also have green production because like, later on, if you see naman on this side, Plate for the Planet, what it basically means is that, di ba when you eat buffet, di ba when you eat, may natitira, di ba? Hindi namin tinatapo yun sa basurahan. Okay? Ginagawa namin, kinocompose namin yun, yung compost gagawing fertilizer. Tapos meron kami mga partner farms, tsaka yung mga property namin na malaki like Taal Vista and Pico de Loro na ekta-ektarya. Meron kami mga little farms doon sa loob. So ginagamit doon yung fertilizer, pagkatapos yung mga gulay, babalik sa kusina. So again, it's circular. Okay.
Wonderful. So
that's an example of what
I'm really appreciating how the whole thing, it really comes together. So parang here, for example, with Telatails, this is what you were mentioning, the linens and
Yes.
the bed sheets that goes there. And of course, you have Plate for the Planet. And then even within Plate for the Planet, that goes into the Giving Garden now,
Yes.
the compost.
The compost,
and everything.
yes.
Okay. And then here, this is where we are, guys. Ito tayo eh. Yeah. So for every stay, right?
Right.
Okay. So, so that said, and I think so I can tie into this with when we come in now. So how do guests or students how do we participate, and what really is the role that consumers play? Because I think a big thing that people have in their heads is like consumerism is totally anti-sustainability or anything attached to that, but actually, when we think about it, hindi naman natin mapipigilan eh, right? We're human beings. We need to consume certain things in order to survive. But it's just a matter of aligning it and making it sustainable. And so, how do our choices now as consumers tie into the bigger picture of sustainability?
Okay. You guys kasi, di ba, you are Gen Z, right? Okay. If I can read you right, the Gen Zs kasi, you love to know where your food comes from, right? Or who made your outfit, or did this, or where did is your food organic? May ganon, di ba? Di ba you like asking where these questions, right? And so your job actually continue to do that. As a matter of fact, I said, you guys are smarter than my generation. Really, okay? You guys are smarter, you know why? Because during my generation, ay hindi ko na sabihin yung age ko, but during my generation, that was a time of industrialization of food. So dyan nauso lahat ng canned goods, instant whatever, di ba? Instant food, sachets, naku, nauso yan during my time. And so at the time, during my time, it was convenience more than anything, right? And so, you guys are smarter than us because you ask that question. Where does my coffee beans come from? Sinong farmer yan, di ba? And then you also ask, like, kunyari, I'm sure if I gave you, let's say, a rubber shoes, ito, newly manufactured from plastic versus a rubber shoes, no, very dated, sneakers, that was made by recycled plastic. Which one will you choose? Sino yung plastic? Recycled plastic. Who will choose that sa sneakers? Wala. Sa Uniqlo, di ba sa Uniqlo, when you go to Uniqlo also, they also have those mga with recycled, that the tela is made from
recycled
thread,
material, yeah.
So, you guys see, like this one.
I hear, Uniqlo.
Yeah, Uniqlo, right? So you continue to question. I think that's the best. Continue to question because it will only get better. Because also as business, if you were a manufacturer or a business, even in the hotel, when we don't actually listen to this generation. I mean, my generation, okay, kasi we're about to retire, right? Actually, when we do studies on what food to serve or what kind of service, we look at their generation. We look at the Gen Y and the Gen Z.
Right.
Because the Gen Z will be our future clients, right? And this is you. You are our future clients, so we will listen to you. Okay?
Yeah. Just curious, out of curiosity, do we have any tourism or hospitality students in the room? Because I remember this morning we did we had quite a few. Okay, so I think most of you guys now today are med students, yeah? Okay.
I think engineering,
Yeah,
no?
and
Also.
engineering. Okay.
Yeah. But can I tell you, engineering students, we need you. Because we have a target. We have a target kasi a environment target of net zero by a certain year, right? And to bring it down, we need the engineers to bring it down. I'm sure Carlo will agree with that, right? Because it's all about how we build the buildings. You know, the efficiency of the aircon, the lighting, and all that.
Right.
So the engineers here
Are also important.
crucial. We need
course.
you.
Yeah, and actually, just to I think I tie back to what we were talking about earlier, and even from the discussion, some of the discussions this morning, we were mentioning how actually when people talk about sustainability, sometimes the first thing that they think about is okay, government, private sector, big corp, but that can also actually come down to us on the individual level, and us as consumers actually have a lot of power to dictate the types of products or services
Yes.
that we get. Because the strongest voting power that you have is actually your wallet, where you choose to spend your
To
money.
spend. Exactly.
Yeah.
So think wisely, choose wisely.
Yes.
Also.
And then even from there, based on our choices, that's where demand, supply all comes in, and we can drive down the prices of these more sustainable, greener products, greener services like these, and make them more accessible to
Correct.
everyone.
Because remember, whatever you buy, okay, will fuel the company to do their programs. So for example, let's say Uniqlo, no? If you support Uniqlo with their recycling, because they also accept old clothes, okay? If you support them, then they continue to do their projects because they do a lot of tree planting, they do a lot of, CSRs also. And so when you help companies with values like that, sustainability values, you're helping move forward their programs. So that's how you can participate.
Wonderful. If I can ask you, Miss Leah, siguro, especially for our kids now who are slowly transitioning now after college, syempre going into the workforce na sila. For you personally, how did you get into sustainability? What was this really an advocacy for you that you were pushing for? And then how did that start for you?
Actually, it happened, prior to my position of quality and sustainability, I was the head, I was the VP for food and beverage in all our hotels. And actually, if we can show if there's a slide, you will see that food waste is one of the biggest factor in carbon emission. As in the biggest, one of the biggest. And it's really, it really makes a big impact on the environment. So me, when I started computing my own food waste, and it was like in the tens, thousands of tons, ayan. See, it says here, 40% of the world's food waste comes from the hospitality industry. So just imagine that responsibility that we have, not only me, but all the other hotels, right?
Yeah.
And restaurants. That's our responsibility. And so I couldn't obviously take it sitting down, right? We had to do something about it. Okay, and at SM we have a lot of programs. So like I mentioned, we do composting, composting, and we have two kinds of composting. We have the normal composting. So these are my staff. See, they segregate. So you can see the waste, and then that's sent to the compost pit. We have two kinds of compost pit. One is the normal one, which means you will bury it, with bokashi and all of this. And it takes about 1 month to turn the food waste into fertilizer. But we also, here's the normal one, see, bokashi method. So we have drums like that. And then we also have the high-tech one, okay? This is a video. We'll show you. This is Orca. Meet Orca. He's our biodigester. This is in Taal Vista Hotel, because in Taal we have a lot of parties. So imagine from that to this. You saw that from the solid food waste to that in 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have to throw in the landfill.
Right.
Right.
And then from here, these go to...
This is water already. So this one, they can harvest the water and use it as, like, we call it golden fertilizer, which we use in our landscaping and our garden. And so far, imagine, we have harvested 7 tons already of vegetables and fruits in all our, hotel gardens and partner farms, because some of our hotels are in cities. Wala
Yes.
namang garden, diba? So we have partner farms like in Bacolod, in Iloilo, in Davao.
Okay. And then from there, it all goes back again.
Yes, then we buy it.
Yeah.
So you'll see in our buffet, if you go to our buffet, it will say that this came from so-and-so farm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so...
So
galing.
circular again.
Yeah.
So that's an illustration of circularity.
Okay. So we really touched on the hospitality industry as a whole, and we were mentioning already, but in terms of the Philippine context, right? So how can now the hospitality industry in the Philippines contribute meaningfully both to national sustainability and even climate goals now?
Okay, because the hospitality, as you know, is one of the big drivers also of our economy, right? And so as, let's say, tourism increases, our responsibility to do all of these things, manage the waste, actually even people, training people, becomes a big responsibility of ours, diba? And so if we do it properly, right? If we do it properly, number one, we create awareness. Second, we create influence, right? And then, and that is part of nation building, right? When you start creating small ripples to bigger ripples, right? That creates, change, right? As a matter of fact, when the pandemic started, everything was like, had to be, had to be, diba, packed. And we said, no, okay, we need to pack, but, pwedeng hindi plastic. So just imagine, because the size of SM,
Yes.
okay, we just talked to one supplier and we said, we're going to carry it in your supermarket. We're going to carry it in all our hotels, right? Can you bring it in? We want, the carton, the disposable bowls or
Okay.
the cups and all that, the ones that are made of rice and ganyan.
Yep.
So in a small way, that's how we influence, also the demand for sustainable items. Because like what I said, if the demand is there, we will, as business people, we will, of course, adopt it,
Yes.
right? Then it helps down the chain, downline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm just curious because you mentioned that during the pandemic, right? There was, syempre, it was very abrupt, and especially for the hospitality industry, I'm sure. So, were there any big parang changes that happened? Maybe not just within the industry, but maybe particularly for for SMHCC that you kind of adopted or had to pick up. And kind of reframed sustainability for you guys. Was there anything like that?
Definitely for single-use usables. It's not only for plastic. So during the pandemic, we used a lot of it, right? We used a lot of it. And after the pandemic, obviously we didn't take it out. It's already part of our operations already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And even the segregation, because during the pandemic, you really had to segregate so much. So that kind of got also parang instilled in the minds of our staff to really segregate properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe not so much for the students here in the room right now, no? Kasi mostly engineers and medical students. But since we're also live streaming to our other 14 campuses nationwide, maybe for those students who are taking tourism or have an interest in eventually going into the hospitality industry, is there any advice that you would give them, as they are, right now they're younger, yes, but syempre, the whole theme for us this afternoon is empowering the next generation.
Yes.
So, is there any advice that you could give them as they, transition now into the workforce?
Actually, we have a very strong program for OJTs, okay? I think first of all, when you do your OJT, choose the right company, right? The right company. Because you learn from them, right? And when you learn from them, later on, if you get hired, good. If you're not hired by them, you get to practice. You get to also, practice what you learn with whoever you join in the future. For those who are graduating, that's my advice. Choose your OJT very well. In terms of sustainability, like what I said, you guys are smarter than us. I think unknowingly, you are sustainable. I'm sure all of you here, majority has a water bottle, right? During my time, walang ganon, di ba? Bili ka ng di ba? Bili ka ng plastic bottle, di ba? But everybody here now has a water bottle. See, you're smarter than us, di ba? So continue to ask questions, continue to learn about sustainability. Because remember, guys, this is your world. You're gonna inherit it. You want it to be clean. You want it to be healthy, di ba? You want to be happy.
Actually, ako nga, may water bottle nga, pero ang dami.
Never
Minsan,
mind.
nagko-collect
Huwag mo lang itapon.
Alright. So, ayun, Ms. Leah, siguro just a last na lang, before as we wrap up and before we conclude, any other final words or final message that we'd like to give the students or in general?
When you say sustainability, you think it's such a big word, right? Parang, wow, it is only for corporations. But in reality, you have a contribution to it. Small contributions make a big impact at the end. For example, only rice. Kailangan ba talaga only rice? Diba? Baka naman pwedeng 1 cup. But all I'm saying is, kailangan ubusin, right? Pag nasa buffet kayo, menos takaw tingin, diba? Mga ganyan. Bring your water bottle. The most important, you have to segregate. Okay? It's very important, you know why. And I'm sure Sir Chico was here earlier to talk. I don't know if you talked about
Yes.
our RDC, the RDC. Why is it important? Because if we don't learn to segregate, we cannot go to the next step, which is finding the solution to recycle all of these things. So once that we're ready to recycle, once we're very adept in segregating, then the technology will be easier, to come in,
Right.
to recycle all of those things.
And actually, the segregation is not that complicated, right? Normally,
Yes.
it's 3 things.
3 bins, like
Yeah.
I'm sure Sir Chico mentioned it, recyclables.
Yeah, so it's
diba?
your basically your recyclables, non-recyclables, and then your general
Yes, the
waste.
yeah.
So just having even those 3 is more than enough as a start, and then from
Yes.
there it's really going down the chain. So eventually it all comes back in circle, as we just
Correct.
showed earlier. All right. Well, Ms. Leah, thank you so much for this wonderful
Thank you also.
discussion. A round of applause, please, for Ms. Leah. Thank you. I hope you guys learned a lot, and we'll bring you back again later for the
Okay.
panel discussion. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Sam.